All right, all right. I'm here early today with Blake Alguire. He's with EXP in two states, Minnesota, and now he's got a dual license in South Carolina. But we'll talk about that in 1 second. First, I'm going to play a little clip about Honey Badger Nation.
This is Honey Badger Nation,
where real estate agents from around the globe come together
to grow, collaborate,
and expand their business.
Where we take our individual fires and put them together and make one big fire.
This is the Honey Badger Nation.
All right, all right. So, as you guys know that are watching, if you've seen me before, you know that collaboration is one of the keys to our success at eXp Realty. And here we have Blake Alguire from another state. I never met him. We're going to have a conversation about his journey, getting some freedom with his business and that kind of stuff. So welcome, Blake. How are you, buddy?
I am doing well. Happy to be here, Ed.
Good to have you. So let's talk about your journey. So how did you get started in real estate?
Yeah, so my journey in real estate started as the weird kid at the dinner table who was more interested in the adult conversations about real estate than I was about, going and playing with my toys at an early age. And so I kind of grew up around the business. I watched my parents go through a lot of struggles in the '08 crash. When I got out of college in 2010, I decided to put that real estate idea on hold for a few years. Finally, in 2014, I got sick of working in corporate sales and dove into real estate head first, started at Coldwell Banker, and haven't looked back since. It was the best decision I made. I knew, that someday I was going to be involved in real estate. Spent my first 3 years in the business with Coldwell Banker, was fortunate enough to have a lot of success there, but I just felt like there wasn't enough value being exchanged for the amount of money that I was paying the brokerage to be there. So in 2017, I was actually in the process of starting my own real estate brokerage because I felt like that was the best way for me to get where I wanted to go and to help as many people as I could help. And in that process, somebody, John Murphy, one of my good friends in real estate still to this day, had recently moved to EXP. I had never heard of it before. It was basically non-existent at the time in Minnesota. I was agent number 11 to join Minnesota. At the time, I might have been the top producing agent in that state, which is pretty crazy. But anyways, almost 5 years here, Ed. It's been an incredible ride. I wouldn't exchange it for anything else. I have no desire to start my own brokerage anymore because, quite frankly, the wealth that I've been able to build through EXP far exceeds what I could have done on my own.
That's amazing. So listening to your story, a couple things struck home. Number one, you started really young, in my opinion, because when I started, and I told you briefly before we got on, I've been in the business 32 years. So in 1990, when I started, I was 30 years old. And I was like the young kid on the block. There was nobody ever started when they were in their 20s. Most people started when they were in their 50 as a second career. So that's really cool that you got out of college. And it's really cool that real estate has evolved into younger people. I actually have a guy on my team that just turned 21. He's still in college. So that's pretty cool. But didn't you say that your dad was in real estate, or no?
Yeah. He ran one of the larger teams in the Brainerd Lakes area in northern Minnesota, where I grew up, for a Berkshire Hathaway affiliate, Edina Realty. Also worked for Century 21 and some boutique brokerages over the years. So certainly learned some things from him, and I definitely learned that you work a lot in real estate. There's a lot of long hours and weekends and nights and things. And, but I, for some reason, still decided to get involved.
Yeah. Well, you still have some flexibility other times too. So it's beneficial. So, the other thing you said was that, when you started with EXP, you'd never heard of them. That's a similar story to me. Yeah. Now, when I heard of EXP, when somebody showed me EXP, I'm like, who's that? And why would I want to go from my brand? I'm all branded at the other brokerage. Why would I want to go to EXP? I've never even seen their signs. Well, I wasn't number 11 in New Jersey, that's for sure. But it wasn't a lot. So, but again, best decision I've ever made. And so tell me about your journey a little bit with EXP then. So you started out, as a single agent, and then do you have a team, or do you run as a solo agent?
I've always ran solo. I did have some buyer's agents in the past, but the way EXP is structured, I just felt like, for what I wanted to do. And then also in the back of my mind, knowing that I was looking to do more commercial real estate down the road, I just felt like that was the right path for me. And was fortunate to, have success with that. But, having helped, 30 or 40 agents now find EXP and really explore what it can do for their business, I can help add to their lead generation and things too, through some of the things that I'm doing. So I like how flexible we are at EXP. You don't have to be a formal team to make it work here. There's a lot of ways to make it work. And I really do appreciate that aspect. And, having gotten licensed in South Carolina now too, it certainly is nice. As far as I know, the only brokerage where you can be licensed in multiple states all under one umbrella.
Right.
Pretty awesome deal to be able to take advantage, especially after these last couple of years, Ed. I mean, a lot of people, they don't want to live up north in the cold year round. Right. They want to be able to, at least in Minnesota, everybody seems to go to Florida. That's the spot. Florida's kind of got to be the hottest market in the country right now. But, it's an interesting dynamic. It's a wild time to be in real estate.
Yeah. Minnesota's got to be cold, right? That's got to be one of the colder ones. So
absolutely.
I guess you get used to that. But
you don't.
Yeah, it's really cool that you can not only be in multiple states, like you said. I have about 21 agents in my group so far, and a couple of those are in Florida, and one has license in Delaware and New Jersey. We're kind of close. I have agents with PA and New Jersey. We're kind of outside of Philadelphia. I didn't really talk to you about that, but that's
okay.
South Jersey. We're about 20-30 minutes from Center City, Philadelphia.
Oh, wow.
And
that's important to have that.
Yeah. Another 20 minutes you can be in Delaware. So it's not the New Jersey you think of if you watch, TV, that's all North Jersey. That's right outside of New York.
Okay.
But yeah, being dual licensed in multiple states makes it easy. You got one umbrella, you got one broker, you got one cap. So what was one of the biggest reasons that you came to EXP? I know you said you didn't feel like you were getting what you were paying for.
Yeah. So for me, when I looked at my expenses, and I'm pretty big on math. That's always was my favorite subject in school. But when I looked at it and saw that I could reduce my annual expenses from a brokerage standpoint by about 80% year over year, I thought that was pretty wild. Certainly still want to have a solid structure behind you in your brokerage. So that was still important to me. It's not that, money is all of the conversation, but it was certainly an aspect of it. But for me, I've always been a self-doer, kind of stay out of my way. If I need help, I'll raise my hand and get the help that I need. But, I don't need somebody to wake up every day and tell me what I need to do. I've just been a self-doer kind of my whole life. So for me, when I looked at this business model and I was like, okay, so I can sell real estate and collect a bunch of stock along the way, that was really enticing to me. When I started and the stock was trading at $2.70 a share, not on the NASDAQ yet. It was a penny stock at the time. Yeah. And I just felt like there was more to this company than had been portrayed to the world yet. And so I just was like, I like upside in what I'm doing. And I just felt like the upside was really immense here. So for me, the first thing that drew me to this company was the stock options that we were given. It certainly has morphed into much more than that, but that initially was what drove me to this company.
That's cool. Some people have a different attraction. So stock is one of them. Myself, believe it or not, I told you some of my history. I've been with the same broker for 29 years. And what I liked right out of the gate was 80-20 split, 16,000 cap, and then you go to 100%, and there's no 6% fee on top of it, because I was paying 6% on top of everything, like most people were. And
the franchise fee.
Yeah, right. So this wasn't a franchise, but it was still a fee. They called it an associate resource fund, whatever. It still was 6% off the top. So
Yep.
I've watched, as I told you, 32 years. I've seen the market change up and down and sideways, but I also seen brokerages, that have changed. Like the brokerage model has changed. So years ago, it was you started on 50-50. That's it. That's just the way it was. So then, as it evolved to have a $16,000 cap and no fees and go to 100% for the rest of the year. And then if you become an Icon agent, you can get the stock back. I mean, the cap back in stock up to 16,000 in stock, which is amazing. So
certainly is.
Yeah. Yes. So, I started 2.5 years ago, and I think the stock I bought some of it at $6 a share out of my commission check, with the 10% discount, which you can do too. And then of course, some of it's granted to you. So at $2 a share, I mean, that's phenomenal.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. There's, and just the fact of how many people I've met from around the country. Some of my best friends in real estate are from all over the country. And, real estate for the longest time, I'm sure you can relate to this, Ed, has always been about the dot on the map in which you live in. And, and this really changed that dynamic, right? It shifted the mindset of, who do I learn from? Who do I collaborate with? Who am I, where am I going for my referrals? And just the direct access we have to other agents. And, EX, one of my favorite parts, there's a couple things. So one is I talk to agents and their comp plan changes all the time. They're not allowed to know what other people's splits are. It's kind of a secretive, good old, type of mentality. You don't share what you're getting and don't ask what your neighbor's doing kind of thing. And I always struggle with that. I was a hard negotiator my first year in the business, but still it was still a lot of money. And I really think that the way we set up, I've been a mentor here at EXP for 4 years now, and having helped almost a dozen brand new agents, go from zero to where they are today. One of my most proud moments is they're all still selling real estate full time, like that to me, shows that we here at EXP, we are a great brokerage for newer agents that maybe are about to give up on this thing. Now you got to put in the grit and the hard work. It's not,
sure you do.
It is not easy, but it doesn't have to be complicated. And that's what I tell people. It's just consistency day in and day out.
Nobody ever said real estate was easy. It can be simple, but it's not easy. And I agree with you. One of the biggest things I liked about the 80-20 is that everybody's on the same playing field. If you sold 500 homes last year, you started 80-20. If you sold 10 homes last year, you started 80-20. And there's no special deals. That's why you can't tell other people what your split is, because they have special deals, and that's just not fair to begin with. So this is a very fair company, and I really appreciate that too. So and the collaboration. So getting in contact with other agents across the country is one thing, but they actually share all their secrets with you. That's not the way it was where I came from in any brokerage, to be honest with you, went through my career, because if you came up with a good idea, like you said, real estate was hyper local. So if you came up with a good idea, you weren't going to share it with your colleagues because they were in the same market as you, and you didn't want them taking your idea.
Right.
So this is spread out so much better that that it really works. So let's talk just a little bit about revenue share. And I know you got to go because you got another appointment. So you have about 40 people in your revenue share group.
Yeah, we're growing. It's certainly, I will say, doing the agent attraction piece appropriately is a delicate task. I think there's certainly people in our organization that don't do it the right way. You're going to get that in any company. I explain that to people because, when you're growing the way that we're growing and adding the type of agents we're adding every month, you do have a target on your back. And so the microscope is certainly on you. But I explain to people, hey, look, Remax had that in the 90s during their big growth spurt. KW in the 2000s had that. I think, Century 21 was really, the 80s is when they blossomed. And so every brokerage has that, right? But the bottom line is like choosing the right sponsor at EXP, somebody that's got your back, somebody that's going to be there for you in the thick and the thin. I explain it to to people this way when they're evaluating me and the company and partnering with somebody at EXP is I say, look, I don't know everything about real estate. Nobody does. But what I do know is I can be your voice of reason. And if I don't know where to get the answer, I know where to find it. I'm sorry, if I don't know the answer, I know where to find it. Right. So, that's the important thing, right? That to me is worth its weight in gold to have that backing behind you in this business.
Yeah, it really is. So you've been able to, as a young guy, you've been able to, stockpile, like an exit strategy. So you got some stock and you've got some revenue share that comes in every month, which, like I said, we're not going to explain revenue share today. If you want to know more about it, you reach out to one of us. I'll make sure Blake's information's in the comments. He's going to get a copy of this video too. So I know it's, at least I checked you out ahead of time. It seems like you run like a webinar every week or so.
Yeah, I do that for a couple of reasons, Ed. One, it keeps me on task. We all need that in our lives. So that's just a really great way for everybody to know that, hey, if you're interested in kicking the tires on EXP, I make it really simple every week, same time, same place. And so that's great. And then also too, for somebody that I bring into the organization, into EXP, if, a lot of people don't know how to explain the brokerage effectively. Right. And so that's a way for them to say, hey, you know what? Blake's an extension of me, hop on his webinar and then we'll chat again.
That's a great idea.
Really I do. Yeah.
I think I learned from you today that I should set that up myself because I haven't done that. And I think that's a good idea. Before COVID, I was doing lunch and learns, but then that changed, and a lot of things changed. But yeah, so yeah, Blake, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you jumping on. I'm glad I was able to accommodate you a little bit earlier so you can get to your next appointment. Yeah, hopefully we'll see each other in the future. I'll say hi to Nick Krem for you because I'm going to be talking to him.
Yeah, Nick's a great guy. I've learned a lot from him, and he's an inspiring person to be around, and a great leader.
Yeah, he really is a good guy, and and I say it all the time. But I know I don't look it except for my beard's gray, but I'm 61, so I'm learning from these. I'm learning from the young guys. Nick Krem's like 27.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing about this world is, especially since I've, transitioned more to the commercial side of things. That's an even older industry than the residential side has been for years, So I'm working through those steps of saying, hey, look, I might be young, but I'm not stupid.
Yeah, it's great for you that EXP came up with a commercial division too, not too long ago, maybe a year or so ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's great. So you're still wrapped in one brokerage. Yeah,
absolutely.
So it is great. So yeah, thanks again, Blake. I'll talk to you later. Have a great day. All right.
Thanks, Ed. Appreciate you.
Take care. Appreciate you too, buddy.